Hello everybody, John Bams here, and welcome to my testing world. One of the most common questions I get every single day on my live stream is how do I set up and or power my ME systems? I get the question enough that I figured it was very appropriate to make a short video and show you guys the three most common ways that I like to set up and use my ME system. So hopefully that will help you guys in your worlds get yours up and running too. So let's do this. Okay. So the first things you're going to need, and this is the first setup I pretty much always go to now, especially in my hardcore worlds, is I will always make a ME crafting terminal. Now this, you have two choices here for this first part. You can make the ME crafting terminal or the ME access terminal. Crafting terminal will allow you to craft from within the ME system, and the access terminal will allow you to do just that. Just access and put things in, take things out. So it's a little bit more expensive, but I always go with the crafting terminal. So we'll need that. We will need the ME drive. This is basically where your items will be stored, and the controller, which you put your power into. Inside of your drive, you're obviously going to need storage cards. I always go with the 1K cards. This is debatable, arguable, but I prefer 1K cards. The most common reason that your cards are filling is not because of the capacity. It's not that the 0 of 1024 bytes is full, but it's more commonly that you run out of item types. And whether you make a 1K card or a 64K card, they all only hold 63 types. So 1K is a nice safe way to go. So let's grab that. And then the way we will power this setup is the greatest. This is the culinary generator from XG Utilities. It runs on food. Do I need to say anything else about that? That's pretty much as good as it gets. So let's set this up and just so you guys can see how exactly it's done. I always put my drive down first. You can put these as long as all these blocks are touching each other. It doesn't really matter what order they go, but this is how I always do it. I always put my drive down, my controller next to it, and then my crafting terminal right on top. Then you want to right click your drive, put all of your storage cards in, like so, and that's basically it for the ME system. You just now need to power it. So let's grab our culinary generator, plunk that down right there, and then you don't need any cables or wires, anything to hook it up. Just plunk it down next to the controller, good to go. The culinary generator, it runs on food, so vanilla foods, which I'm sure most of you are most familiar with, work just fine. But most modded foods offer power as well, and usually significantly more. So if we'll see here, we'll put a piece of bread in here. We get power level 50, and that will run for, I think it said, about 16 seconds. So while it does take a lot of work to keep it running, you'll have to have farms growing bread or have some renewable source of food to convert into your power here. This culinary generator itself is very cheap and easy to make. So this right here is my go-to. As soon as I have the materials, this setup is what I do right here. And then we'll just keep feeding it food. Now, let's go on to the next setup I use, which is pretty much the same, but we're a different form of power. So again, let's come here. This time, what we're going to do is let's grab our crafting terminal, our controller, our drive, storage cards, and the way we will power it this time is with a force engine. I used to do this most commonly. Many of you are probably familiar with me setting them up like this, but ever since I discovered culinary generator, I don't use this setup so much anymore. But maybe some of you were into the force engine, so I will show you how I set up with that. So let's come on over here and do it again. We're basically going to set everything down the same exact way. It's just different power, so let's do that. We will put our force engine down. Now, is there still stuff in here? No. Okay. Inside of the force engine, obviously, if you're familiar with these, you know force gems go on the left, force liquid, and that's enough to actually turn it on. What you will quickly notice, though, if you decide to go with this setup, is that as soon as you start actually getting some items into these cards, this generator, this force engine is not going to be creating quite enough power to really run this efficiently. You'll have the screen blinking sometimes. It just won't be enough power. So a great idea, if you're going to do this, is to also have a source of milk. Milk works as a throttle and will cause this engine to put out significantly more power. This pressure plate, this is probably the big secret, the key, and what draws the most questions about this setup is this pressure plate. The reason for this pressure plate is that you don't want to have a lever. This has fuel, and if you had a lever on here, you're going to very often walk away, leave, forget that it's running, and you will come back, be completely out of fuel, and chances are your fuel is inside the system, which you will not be able to access. So if you just put a pressure plate, whenever you come to access your system, stand on the plates, put things in, take them out, whatever it is you're doing, and then when you step off, it'll slowly power itself down. So that is the second setup I use. Another very simple setup. If in my world I'm running this, I usually wind up skipping this system, but it's one of these two all the time. Now there's the third one, and this would be my end game setup, I guess you would call it. Once I have a lot of materials, I've been in the world for a while, I will go to a setup like this here. So let's do it again. Actually, we won't. I already have. I will show you how it works. Same exact setup again with the drive, the controller, and the crafting terminal. Same storage cards, everything. We're just going to power it differently. This time we're going to power it with a Darkcraft, never mind the explosion, a Darkcraft force generator, which will be powered by lava stored in open blocks tanks. The power will be transferred to the ME system with insulated gold cable. The lava will be transferred into the generator by fluid duct, and the servo acts as a redstone signal for the fluid duct. So it just makes the fluid duct a little bit nicer. We don't have to plunk a lever near it or a redstone torch. Yeah, and then you will need a force wrench or some wrench as well. And this is that setup right here. This is how, in my current world I'm using in stream, this is how my system is running. And it's amazing. Darkcraft furnaces, this one is only putting out 16 EU a tick. And if we were to attempt to leave the system running like this, just like the force generator or the culinary generator, would at some point begin to fall short. It wouldn't create enough. So this little slot right here, and if you're familiar with Darkcraft, I suggest using a Speed 5 core. That's 5 sugar on a core in your infuser. Put that in here, and that will up the 16 EU a tick to 96 EU a tick. And just that would be nearly enough, probably enough, to power your ME system forever. So yeah, and then there you go. That is what I would use the entire length of my world right there. I think this is the best. Out of the 3 options here, this setup's obviously the best. It's very low maintenance, especially if you can... you have a nice supply of lava somewhere that you can either bucket into tanks or pump it from the Nether or Mistcraft Age, or however you like to do it. But yeah, so there you go. There are the 3 systems that I like to use, and I hope that was some help to you. And yeah, thanks for watching, everybody, and I will see you all on the stream. Have a good one. Goodbye.